This is Steve and Cedric talking to the band. I'm Steve.
Hey,
What's
hey.
happening, Cedric?
What's up? What's up? I'm Cedric Hansen. How y'all doing?
Man, we got a great show today.
Yes, we do.
If you're listening right now, we need you to call somebody, tag somebody, and text somebody and let them know that Steve and Cedric talking to the band is on live right now.
Yeah.
Call somebody, tag somebody, and text somebody, let them know that we're on.
Yeah.
If you've missed any of our previous episodes, tune into our YouTube channel, like the video, subscribe to the channel. Make sure you hit the alert button so you'll be notified when we upload new videos. Cedric, where else can they find us at, bro?
You can also find us at on Instagram and Twitter as Steve and Cedric talking to the #2 band. That's Instagram and Twitter, Steve and Cedric talking to the #2 band. Check us out, y'all.
Man, Cedric, we got some birthdays I think we need to...
We got birthdays. Yes, we do. We do.
Yeah, Stan.
Mr. Penix,
Stan,
yeah.
Yeah, Stan
Yeah,
Penix,
happy
man.
birthday,
Yeah.
brother Stan. How you doing, man? Yeah. Happy birthday, old man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And I think it's Rodney Hayes.
Rodney.
Happy birthday to Hayes. Yeah, Rodney Hayes. Happy
Cuzzo.
birthday to you, bro.
Yes,
yeah,
yes.
Yeah.
Happy birthday.
Anybody else, man?
That's about it, I think.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yep.
Man, listen, we got a great show. This is a very special show.
Music royalty here, man. Rockford music royalty, man. Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm so excited about it. Looking forward to talking to him.
Yep.
So, man, let's not delay the time any longer. Let's bring him on, man.
No further ado.
Here's a well-accomplished musician. Here he is right now, Miles Nielsen.
What's up, Miles?
Hey, fellas. Nice to see you.
What's that? Nice to see you, man.
You know, funny thing is, I was listening in before I came onto the chat. Stan's birthday, huh?
Yeah.
We used to run some games down at the YMCA, down playing some basketball. You can ask.
Is that
him,
right?
Oh yeah. I used to hit him with some jumpers for sure. He stopped coming down. I don't know if he was getting busy with cutting the hair or what was going on, but he stopped coming down. I think he was intimidated. You know, I knew he plays music. I play music. We didn't want to have any. You know, we got to keep it peaceful. You know.
Oh man,
you was feeding him those cookies in.
Oh man, no, we had good times back in the day though down at the Y. You know, before COVID, I was going down there a lot and playing ball still, but. It's good to hear I haven't heard his name in a while. It was good to hear his name. I was like, Stan. I know Stan. I used to play basketball with him down there at the Y. So happy birthday, Stan. Good to virtually see you.
Man, I love it. Miles, man, what's been happening, man? This whole COVID-19 got everybody quarantined, locked down, mask up, social distance. What's been going on with you and what's been happening, man?
You know, we've done a few outdoor shows. I think we've probably done about 6, but now that it's end of October and it's getting cold, man, everything's down for us. So we're trying to figure out the next move for us in the band. And I don't know I know that, you know, we've got some ideas to record. We've got some ideas to travel down to Arizona. We've got some ideas to go down to Texas, but, you know, nothing's like solidified right now because, you know, as we're seeing the numbers jump up again, we're kind of well, what do we do? I mean, are we making a good decision, or are we going to get people together and then we're going to get some people sick? I don't want to be in a situation where I, you know, give anybody the COVID, you know, or bring them to a place where they get the COVID. So we're just really trying to be careful. You know, everybody in the band has been tested, and, you know, we've gotten together and rehearsed. And like I said, we've played some shows, but to know what the future is going to hold for us, man, I have no idea. But all I know is every morning I get up and I play guitar. So that's kind of a new thing for a guy that usually is on the road a lot. You know, usually I wake up at a hotel and we're getting back in the van and we're driving for 4, 5, 6 hours. So now I wake up and I'm traveling out to the living room and picking up the guitar. So that's been nice.
Wow,
cool.
I hear you.
Have you been doing any writing or anything like that?
Yeah, you know, I've got a whole bunch of voice memos, and I just picked up a new set of studio monitors, and I got some new microphones, and you know, we're just trying to dial in the house studio because we've been rearranging our house, and you know, as teenage kids, you know, we're moving them around, coming and going. So I'm getting back to creating some demos at the house now. But that's kind of been a new thing too, because I've had a studio in Rockford for a number of years, but you know, with COVID, you know, it's like we're not getting together at the studio as much. So I need to. So I just picked up some Universal Audio gear and picked up a couple microphones and got some new KRK studio monitors the other day, and I'm just gonna dial in the house studio a little bit.
Nice, man. Nice.
Yeah, that's cool, man. That sounds good.
How about you guys? You know, I mean, I know you guys are interviewing me, but you know, as musicians, you know, it's like I haven't felt super creative, at least for the first handful of months. You know, I didn't feel like I was in a place of writing music. I was trying to figure out, you know, where's the music industry going? Where are we playing? You know, once it gets cold, what are we going to do? You know, all the things that are now kind of upon us. Like, did you guys feel creative? Are you guys writing?
Well, actually, I did. You know, I feel more creative now than ever. You know, it gives me time to relax and sit back and go, wow, man. You know, like you say, you don't know where this music industry is going, and it's a great time for guys like us. You know, it's just a great time because I think it's going to be wide open when it does open up. So I'm looking at it on a positive thing. Also. Yeah.
Well, I mean, hey, can you rub off some of that creativity? Just send it to me.
Proof.
I just wrote a song.
Yeah, man. I mean, this whole show was birthed, you know, based on this whole COVID situation.
That's how we created it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's great. You know, I mean, make the best of what you're given, right?
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Miles, I want to take you back a little bit, man. I want to talk to you a little bit about, you know, just growing up the son of a rock star. I mean, we all know Cheap Trick and know your father, Rick, famous guitar player for Cheap Trick. What was it like, man? And what was your experience growing up being the son of a rock star, which is probably most of our dreams, that our parents was either some famous athlete or a rock star. You know,
oh wow,
man.
What was that like for you?
You know, I've had this question a lot in my life, and I think the one thing that I always say is it was normal, right? Because I mean, he's my only dad, and I didn't even really know he was famous for the longest time. You know,
wow.
You know, I was just, you know, it was like this was normal. We were, you know, my thing is a lot growing up when kids would say, "Well, I want to go." Summer vacation, I want to go to Florida. I want to go to Disney World. I wanted to go on the tour bus. I wanted to go travel with the band and be on tour. You know, I just thought that was the coolest thing in the world, going to a different city every day, you know, hopping in the bus at night, you know, riding in your, you know, I had my own bunk. Of course, you know, I had my Christy Brinkley poster above my bunk. That sort of ages me, you know, where I'm like Christy Brinkley.
Yeah, it does. That does.
I think Christy Brinkley's daughter is now like a famous model. You know, you're like, oh man, but
hey,
you know,
wasn't she married to Billy Joel?
She was, They have a daughter together too, and she's super talented, and but you know, I never really knew until I got just a little bit older, and then people were, you know, that we would go out to dinner, you know, and people would come up to the table and, hey, could I get your autograph, or hey, can I get a photo with you, you know? And I remember you guys probably remember the restaurant, the Mayflower out there on 251. You know, I remember being there, and this guy came up to the table, like right in the middle of us getting our food. And my dad kind of bit his head off, you know, he's like, can't you see we're eating? And I'm like, oh, so embarrassed. I was like, all right. So we had to, you know, I actually had to sit my dad down and say, you know, those are the people that buy your records. Those are the people that buy tickets to your show. Maybe go about it a little bit differently. You know, like, hey, I'm eating right now, but can you come back? I'll be happy to sign it, take a photo with you when the dinner's over. And it was like a real defining moment. And then I realized, I was like, I think he's kind of famous, you know?
Wow.
Yeah.
But you know, it's Rockford. I mean, Rockford is a humbling place to sort of have any sort of fame, you know.
Good point.
You get too big for your britches here, someone's gonna, you know, I mean, back when we grew up, someone would smack you. You know?
Yeah, man.
Just like, hey, you know, you're acting like, you know, like your ego's getting out of control, or what, you know, someone's gonna come in and let you have it.
That's good. Yeah.
I mean, my dad was always you guys know my dad. I mean, he's a nice humble guy. He's a little eccentric, but you know,
Every
He'd
time
do
I see
anything.
him, man, he speaks. Every time I see him, hello. You know?
He's
Yeah.
a good dude, you know?
Yep.
So I don't really know. The long-winded answer to your question is it just seemed normal, and it didn't strike me as anything odd. Now I've met some famous people that I thought weren't as friendly, but you know,
Yeah.
I'll leave that alone.
I know what you're saying. I definitely know what you're saying there. Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
How much did it influence you to pursue music? You know, knowing that
You
your
know,
dad was so famous.
I think that it was one of those situations where I didn't give it a whole lot of thought other than I loved the idea of it. I didn't understand how hard it was, you know, because I saw it as from the time I was 5 years old. I mean, they were huge, you know, they were playing at the LA Forum, you know, they were playing at the LA Coliseum. They were playing in front of, you know, 50,000 people some night,
Wow.
you know, and you're
Yeah,
just like,
yeah.
yeah, I just thought, well, if I just start playing music, I get in a band and we just get a tour bus and then, you know, we've got thousands of fans. That's how it works, you know. Totally naive to actually how hard it was, you know, like I had
rude awakening.
Yeah. Like, I mean, I had great hair, I had great clothes, but I couldn't play a lick, you know.
Wow.
So I needed to go back to learning how to play, you know, how to sing and how to be a musician rather than like looking cool, you know.
Yeah,
I mean,
I hear you.
so
I hear you.
that was a whole wake up call of, yeah, we look good, but we sound terrible, you
Man,
know.
yeah, I hear you. I hear
So
you. Wow.
Wow. You know, getting out from under your father's shadow at some point, I'm sure became challenging, and making your own mark in music. You know, talk a little bit about that experience. And
yeah, I mean, you know, again, like when you have a band, I had a band in high school, you know, and we'd be down in my parents' basement practicing. And my dad's theory in all of this has always been, well, if you can't figure it out, come up and I'll show you how to play it the right way.
Yeah.
Well, you know how that's going to go. You're not going to go up there and tuck your tail between your legs and go be like, I can't figure it out. You have to show me. You're going to sit down there and you're going to grind. And so for a lot of me, my growing up was just, I wouldn't go up and ask him anything. I'm like, I got to figure this out. I got to use my ear, you know? And back when, you know, as I dated myself, I would be playing cassette tapes, stopping, fast forwarding, reversing, you know, like learning licks off of cassettes. And that develops your ear so much faster than if you're like reading tablature. Now you can go on YouTube and learn anything.
Man, yeah.
So I was developing my ear, you know, so ear training was a big thing for me. So I guess, you know, for coming out of his shadow, it was more like I kind of grew up knowing that I had to be a little bit more blue collar than I anticipated it being. And then growing in a town, Rockford, you're like, all right, I'm going to go to this open mic night, or I'm going to go sit in with this band down at Big Cities, or I'm going to go, you know, I got asked to be in the soul band with Harlan Jefferson down at Kryptonite when they used to do Monday nights down there.
Yeah, I seen you down there one time.
Man, you know, like, I mean, that was all like learning stuff for me. So it was like, you know, you get down there and it's like, you know, I'm playing with like Harlan and Cheeseburger and,
yeah, buddy.
You know, I mean, all these guys that were like super good and their ears were great, and they grew up, you know, in the church, man, playing, and they were just, I'm like, oh man, I'm out of my league here, you know. So then you just realize like, I just got to grind. I got to be blue collar, man. So for me, I'm still trying to, you know, I mean, I'm still working, and a lot of times people introduce me, you know who this is? This is Cheap Trick's kid, which is a feat of science if you think about it. How am I the kid of four men?
Right.
You know,
right.
That is some petri dish kind of science. But you know, I mean, it's still a thing where people are like, "This is the son of Cheap Trick." You know Cheap Trick, and it's like, well, I'm not really the son of Cheap Trick, but that's sometimes how I get introduced. Still in my 40s, you know.
Wow, man.
So you know, it's like hey, whatever gets you in the door, right? And whatever gets you in the door, then it's about yourself proving that that door was open for a reason.
That's it, man. That's it.
So for me, like when the door is swung open, I feel pretty comfortable walking in that room now.
There it is, man. That's cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you feel that you've done that?
Oh, most definitely. You know, it was about maybe 6-7 years ago. We were on tour with this band called Driving and Crying, and they're a pretty big rock band from down in Georgia. And the lead singer, I mean, I was covering one of their songs back when Energy nightclub was around over there, which is now, I think it's Whiskey's on Main.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It was a all ages nightclub, and we used to cover this song called "Fly Me Courageous," which was a cover of this band Driving and Crying. Well, you fast forward like 25 years, we're on tour with the band Driving and Crying, and the lead singer comes up to me and he's like, "Man, I just love your music. I love your songs. Like you're in this for life, man. You know this is your calling." And I'm like, it felt really good to have someone that wasn't my dad. That was also someone that I super looked up to and revered to tell me, you belong in this room now. And it was like, I kind of took that one statement and ran with it, and I'm still running with it.
Man, that is crazy, man. Wow, man.
But I mean, don't you feel like that sometimes when you're growing up and someone gives you just that, like, say you're in, you're running that, you're running a race with the guys, and you're like, all right, you're going to pass that baton. And all of a sudden you get that, and they're like, you got this. And you get it. And you're like, that stroke of confidence that you get, all of a sudden you're like, that's all I needed. I just needed that one person to tell me I could do it,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Yeah. And then since, I try to do the same for other younger people, that I'm out with. I'm like, man, you're great. You need, or I'll give them constructive criticism, but the end result is always to build them up and let them know that they belong.
You're passing that down, man. Passing it down. Yes, sir. Sir, man. Wow. Yeah, man.
That's amazing.
Yeah. I think it's our duty, man. I think
that's it is. It is. Getting to the rusted hearts, man. I've been out to see you guys, a few times, and I've been listening to your stuff. Man, I'm a big fan, first of all.
Thanks.
And man, I love classic rock, man. I'm sitting at home, man. That's what I listen to, man. I hear that in your music, and I also hear soul in your music. You got 60s soul, but I hear a lot of soul. I love your harmonies and stuff like that. But tell me, what is Jelly Coat powered pop music? What is that?
Jellyfish is a band that was I want to say Warner Brothers, or I can't remember if it was Warner Brothers or RCA Records, put a ton of money behind this band Jellyfish in the early 90s, and they put out a couple records that they're like these cult classic records. And it's harmony, it's pop, it's Beatles, it's groove, it's got all the right things that at the time when music was sort of this weird, like you've got like hair band and all these other this goofy stuff that was basically what I was at the time, is like, I had great hair, and Aquanet made a good hairspray that would hold all day. But no one was playing, no one was singing, no one was doing all like the things that I felt like, you had some guys, but you had some bands, but it was like there was sort of this lull in musicianship for a little while there with hair band and what was popular. And Jellyfish came out, and I was like, man, that reminds me of growing up, like listening to the Beatles, or even like your Otis Reddings, or your Sam Cookes, or that stuff is like, it's just undeniable, man. There's just something special.
Man, yes, it is, man. You also work with kids. You provide music education in schools and stuff like that. Can you talk to the audience about what you provide for schools?
Yeah, this year's been I haven't done it at all because being an outside factor, I'm not on the faculty or anything, and but what I'd like to do is go and talk about creative writing and talk about songwriting and recording, and it's one of those things that you have these kids where you can tell in a room of, I think there's normally about 45 to 50 of these kids, and you can hit a few of them in a certain way where they're like, they're eighth grade kids. That's who I go talk with, because I feel like this middle school jump to high school is like a super crucial impact.
Tell me about it. Yes, sir.
So if you can get them right before they go into some of the most crucial years of their life, and just tell them like, hey, I played on the Jimmy Fallon show, and they're like, what? I'm like, Yeah, I was playing bass for this guy who was, you know, a guy from Wisconsin, and then he got signed to RCA Records. I produced a couple of his next thing you know, we're on the Jimmy Fallon show, and we're at the hotel, and Justin Bieber's there, and you know, like you start to connect so they can have something to relate to.
Yeah, yeah.
And then all of a sudden, then you say, well, you know, look around the room, be creative. You know, songs are made up of your imagination, you know, a lot of times, or a story. Just, you know, learn how to tell a story, be creative with your writing.
Man,
And I've had multiple kids that come back to me once they get out of high school or in high school or in college that have like written me and said, hey, you came to speak to me in high school or in middle school, and it really impacted me, and I'm in music now, and I'm doing music. And you're just like, that's what I want.
Yeah.
wow,
You know,
man.
that's what it's all about, you know, just
That's it.
giving
That
these
is,
kids,
man.
just giving them direction, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I tell you what, it helped me, man. It helped me and my brothers, man. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know where I would be really if it hadn't been for music, man. You know,
I was never that great in school. So, you know,
me either, man.
I wasn't the student that I probably could be now, because I've learned a much greater discipline.
Yeah.
But I was never that good in school. So like music was something that it never felt like work to me, man. I would put in hours of playing. I still put in hours of playing a day.
Me
You know,
too,
it's like,
man.
I
Yep.
just never feel like it's work. You know,
Yeah.
it's like, it's just super rewarding. And then when you write a song that hits somebody, or, you know, someone writes you and says, hey, I heard that song that you did. I played it at my mother's funeral, and it made me feel comfort. And you're like, wow, I didn't even know, like, when I got into writing songs that I just wrote them for myself because I was trying to learn how to write songs. I never knew that the transition and, you know, it would impact people the way that it does.
That's real talk, man. That's real talk, man.
Wow.
And it's a beautiful thing, you know, it's like,
Yes, it is.
I mean, it makes you want to write better songs.
Man, tell me about it, man.
You know?
Hey, this Rockford music scene, man. If anybody stands out that in your eyesight that's up and coming here in Rockford, and this.
Man, you know, I wish I was more connected. I think we all kind of feel that way right now. Just, you know, I mean, there's not really anything going on, but I know that Derek Luttrell just put out a new record.
I heard of him. Yep.
He's a real great songwriter, singer. Lincoln Flowers, he was in a band called Taboo Blah Blah.
Mm-hmm.
I know he's constantly writing. The band called Glitter, they just put out a new record. Man, there's a young woman that just followed me on Facebook or on Instagram the other night, and I can't remember her name, but she's doing like a pretty cool hybrid of like rap and soul, and I can't remember her name, but man, I was just down on her page the other night. And, you know, you just find these people. I'm like, I didn't even know this person existed, you know?
Wow.
And then I start going down the rabbit hole, you know, you're like, whoa, this person's from Rockford. This person lives right down the street, you know?
Yeah.
And you know, it's like, so lately I've just, unfortunately, man, I don't know what the scene is, and I hope the scene is something, but I keep trying to put together something music venue wise that's, you know, I'm really, you know, I love Mary's Place. That's a great place to play. I think
that's
we
the best place. I love that place, man.
But you know, when you think about playing Mary's Place right now, I'm like, man, people right up in the front row, hot, sweaty, right in your face.
That ain't gonna happen, man. It ain't gonna happen.
No,
Right.
I'm gonna wear 10 masks.
Right.
Oh, so like right now, I'm just, you know, I've got some guys from the Quad Cities that I've been talking with. They've got a cool model of a music venue that they've been up to Rockford a few times, looking at some different buildings and some properties. So we're talking about partnering with them.
Nice.
So, you know, just trying to keep some, you know, I've lived in Rockford, you know, almost my whole life. I grew up here. It needs a couple more venues, you know. Kelly and I looked at buying big cities a while back, just because I love that room, you know, playing back there in the day, but it just needs so much work that, like, so we're just trying to figure out something to do. And hopefully we've got a lot of spaces here in town. I just trying to figure out the right one where hopefully at some point soon we can, you know, get back to putting some people in it. Man,
I hope so, man. It's so much talent here. It's so much unseen talent, you know. So I agree,
much, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, you see some of these bands and I'm like, how have I never heard of these guys, you know?
Yeah.
Or like, you know, like some of the guys that you play with, I'm like, where'd this guy come from?
Yeah.
Like, you know, like, I mean, I don't know how many times I played with Harlan. All of a sudden it's like, oh, Hosey can't make it tonight. We got We got a dude on the drums. He just started playing like a year ago, and you're like,
yeah.
Oh, okay. I think is it Daniel Fry?
Oh yeah,
Fry,
we just
yeah,
had Daniel on. Yeah.
Now
Daniel's
like
incredible, man. Yeah.
He's a killer, and he's a killer bass player too.
Yes, he is. Yes,
and
he
then
is.
there's like Aaron Memphis Carter.
Yep.
That dude's like taken off as a drummer, and I remember he didn't even play drums until Daniel started showing him how to play some drums, and then you watch him now, and you're like, that's his whole career, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
So I mean, Rockford's got, you know, and then like you said, Michelle Williams. I mean, there's tons of talent here. It's just, you know, you're trying to figure out how to get it, you know, to exploit it a little bit more, and not in a gross music business way, but you know, in a way that lets people hear it, you know.
To provide a platform for them.
Just an outlet, a platform, you know. But it's like, I mean, with COVID right now, man, it's like all of this is so strange. But I think the key to this is to work really hard right now, so when things do open up, man, you got a lot to share with people. Yeah,
I truly believe, man, it's going to be wide open, man. I mean, people are going to be more accepting of all types of music, man, once this thing open up again, man. I really believe that.
I think Rockford's got a pretty good musical palette, though. I mean, I think, you know, when you go out and see bands, man, diversity is a fun thing in Rockford. And I think people that love music, they'll give anything a chance. You know, it's just about making them feel good.
Yeah. Taking their minds away from the daily grind, man.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
The daily grind. I don't even know what that is. I don't even know what that is really, though. Like, I'm making like videos in my driveway of me shooting like long range baskets, you know, like that's what my life has become.
Hey man, who do you listen to, man? Who influences Miles?
Anybody. Honestly, I want to have like such an open mind when it comes to music that I will listen to anybody. And I picked up there's a couple records, you know, the girl that is the Brittany Howard, she's the singer of Alabama Shakes.
Yeah, man. Oh my God, man.
That new record that she put out is fantastic.
Oh my God. Yes, sir.
The grooves on that record are super, super good.
Man.
What else have there's a young man named Marcus King. If you don't know that guy, he's like this guitar prodigy. Just, I mean, if you close your eyes, you'd think it was like Aretha Franklin or something, but it's like this chubby little white dude from, I don't know, where is he from? Like Arkansas. And he can play the guitar and sing. I mean, he's like 24 and I'm like, man, I should just quit.
I hear you, man.
I mean,
wow.
So, I mean, but then like a lot of times if I'm in the car, if I'm just driving, you know, a lot of times I'm listening to classical music because sometimes the words can distract me.
Yeah. Wow.
And what classical music can do is it can tend to let my mind wander in a poetic direction rather than, you know, already having the poetry there for me. So sometimes songs with words, they can get in the way of me feeling things musically creative, and then poetry wise, I'm like, oh man, you know, like looking at things in a different, saying something in a different way than you would normally say it, rather than just, you know, hey girl, I love you. Like,
right. Yeah.
You know, there's a more poetic way that you can say that will,
That's right.
That'll shape a song in a cooler, different way. But I'll listen to anything, man. I was also like a kid that grew up, you know, with a lot of the 90s rap stuff too. So like, man. You know, if you know, like give me into that Fat Boys, you know, give me into the Too Short, you know, the DOC. I used to go in like Bloom School, C. Henry Bloom School. I would go, me and my buddy Charles would go into the corner of the tile bathroom and beatbox, you know? So, I mean, you know, I mean, I still have a few of those skills left.
Can you still do a little bit?
Man, it's been a while, but if you get me on the right PA system that's got a nice sub, I can give some pretty good beats still. I mean, did you know my dad was in a Fat Boys movie?
No.
Oh yeah.
What movie was it? The Fat Boys movie.
The Fat Boys,
they only had one, right?
They only had one.
They only had one movie, yeah.
Yeah, and he is in a scene there where he gets pulled over. Remember when they were impersonating the police?
Yeah, yeah.
He's the guy they pull over, and his acting was horrible. He goes, but I was only going 25, you know, and then they get him to lay down on the ground. But the coolest thing was when he got home from shooting that, he brought remember the old school jackets where the sleeves were leather, different color.
Yep, yep.
He brought home a Fat Boys jacket and gave it to me.
Wow.
And I was like, man, this is the greatest gift I've ever received from my dad.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, because the human beatbox, man, like back when I was,
Man. They were here. I remember seeing him and LL Cool J together, I think.
Oh,
yeah.
man.
Yeah.
So, yeah, wow. I mean, you know, as far as musical things go, I mean, anything from that to classical to jazz to, you know, I mean, when John Scofield played at Kryptonite, like that dude's played with Miles Davis, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, and he was there, and I brought down, I have a Vox AC30, an older one. And that was one of his gear requests. And I was like I was just like a giddy kid bringing my amplifier for him to play out of. And I brought it down there, and there's a 67 Vox AC30. He plugged it in and turned it and then just hit the top of it, you know, just like, you know, it was like a Fonzarelli, like the Fonz. He just hits the top of it. He goes, this is going to work perfect.
Dang.
I'm like, man, that guy. And that amp, I never made it sound like that. So.
That's funny, man. You know, I've done that too. You know, some professional acts, man, brought my rig down there for them, and somehow, man, the sound comes out better when they do it. I mean, why is that, man?
Like they say, the tone is in your fingers, my friend. Oh, I know, man. I know. Because I remember back when I was a young man and I had an amplifier set up at my buddy's house, and then this kid. He wasn't a kid, but he was an older guy, came over and plugged into it. And all of a sudden my amp never sounded better. I'm like, man, what'd you do? He's like, nothing.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, you just know how to play it. Yeah.
Wow.
Gotta learn the hard way, man. You gotta learn the hard way.
Yeah, you do. Yeah.
That's good
man.
stuff.
Yes, sir.
That's good stuff. Miles, I want to just, we ask all of our guests this question. I want to just get your thoughts. Aside from music, you know, we're living in really a crazy time, COVID-19, but we also have Black Lives Matter movement that's, you know, really taking off in this nation. Give us your thoughts and what have you learned from that movement? Your thoughts on the movement and what have you learned from it?
This could be a super long answer, which I'll try not to have it be super long. I grew up in Rockford going to public schools my whole life. So a lot of my friends look different than I do. I also grew up playing basketball my whole life. So I never really knew there was anything different, right? And that might sound like, well, that's BS. But I really didn't until I went to Guilford High School. And that's when West High School had closed down.
Yeah, I remember.
So when they closed down West, and then all of a sudden I started seeing racism. Like, what is this thing that's happening? You know, I grew up with friends that we didn't, you know, I mean, we had sleepovers, we had hangouts, you know, my dad's been a musician his whole life. So having things that were color related never made sense to me. But then as you become an adult and you start seeing things firsthand, you realize that bubble that you live in is not the bubble of the world that is out there.
Man.
And all I'm trying to do inside of it is listen a lot more, because I'm here. I don't have the answers. I will listen more, and I will also build people up that should be built up. And it's, you know,
it's big, man.
The movement is something that, you know, I feel like should have happened, and we shouldn't be here. I mean, was it 1968 Martin Luther King?
Yep.
We're in 2020 and we haven't progressed further.
That's right.
It's super frustrating to me, because I feel like if you realize the biggest thing is number one, I'm a white guy. I haven't had the same upbringing. I haven't had the same hardships. I haven't had the same deals. But we all bleed the same color.
Better believe it, man. Yes, sir.
And I have had a lot of great experience of having friends of every ethnicity, and nobody's any better. You know, we all just need to love each other more.
That's good. That's good.
And I don't know, you know, I'm just trying to understand and listen more. And I think that's the best thing that I think people that aren't in a situation can do, is just listen more, because some people they just need to talk, you know. Some people need to be heard. And also change doesn't happen if you don't understand the root of where it's coming from and what needs to change. So I know that might not be the most direct answer, but for me, it's just something that I'm really fortunate in, the diversity of the people that I have in my life. And I would never want any of those people that I'm with or around to feel any of that. So I've always tried to make sure everybody of every ethnicity feels comfortable when they're with me, when they're at my house, when they've stayed the night at my house, when they've been in my band, when they've shared the stage with me. It's all about love, you know? And
yeah, that's good.
I don't know, man. I wish that the people that don't see it that way, the people that say, what do you mean? What do you mean white privilege? What do you know, you're like, if you don't think that exists, you need to start back to the root of the whole thing. Yeah. And I mean, and I'm aware, man, I'm not going to sit here and say I have the answer, because I don't. But what I do know is I'm trying to understand, and I'm trying to listen. So
a part two to that is what role do you feel music can play in the Black Lives Matter movement to maybe help heal and strengthen?
I think it can play a huge role. I mean, I was watching something the other night, you know, and it was a clip from something in the 70s, and it was like, I feel like it was a Philadelphia, something in the streets in Philadelphia in the 70s, and man, it was people of all walks of life jamming out in the streets, dancing to music. And you know, different then, you know, why was everybody getting along? What was different?
Yeah.
And I don't know. I mean, I feel like music can play a huge role in that, because I mean, I don't know, when I'm playing music with people, I'm not thinking about color.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm thinking about textures. I'm thinking about sounds. I'm thinking about playing together. I'm also thinking about what's this guy playing that I can add to. Yeah. I think music can play a huge role in that. And I think music should play a huge role in that. I think sports can play a huge role in that too. You know, I mean, I see it all the time where, like, you know, people disappoint me in their short-sightedness of saying something like, well, the NBA's lost me as a fan. I'm like, why? Because they're standing up for equality and justice?
Right. Yeah.
Man, like that shows where you stand.
Yeah.
Now, I think the same thing with the NFL, you know? I mean, I think sports is something that in my life has played a huge role in me learning how to be a team player.
Yeah, buddy.
And to me, learning how to put myself in other people's shoes.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I've been to basketball camps, and I got my brand new Air Jordan stolen when I went to U of I to a basketball camp, and they found them up in a boys club in Detroit.
Wow.
And I said, you know what? Just keep them. Just keep them. You can have them. Like, I don't need them back. You needed to take my shoes. You needed them. You use them. Just have them. And that was an eye opener for me. It was like, not everybody has the ability to even have nice shoes.
That's right.
So I've just always, I don't know, man. I think music can play a huge role. I think this right here is having a discussion about it where it doesn't become, you know, a heated argument, or, you know, I'm just trying to understand. I'm trying to understand. I mean, what do you guys think, you know? Yeah. And how do you feel about it? How do you feel the movement is?
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah,
you know,
it's a lot to learn.
It's a lot.
We definitely appreciate your answer and appreciate your honesty and transparency. In that. So
yeah.
If people want to book you and the band, how can they find you? How can they get in touch with you?
Yeah, just milesnielsen.com, milesnielsen.com, and you got everything you could want right there. And then you know, I mean, we'd love to play. I don't know where that is, but if you have heaters, we'll come jam.
Man,
Hey, man,
Miles,
hang tight, man. It'll be over soon, man.
Man,
Yeah.
I know. We all got to hang tight, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I hope it gets over soon so I can, you know, come out and hear you guys. I mean,
Heck yeah, appreciate that.
I think
man.
the last thing that I think you guys played, you were one of the last bands I think to play at Mary's place before the shutting down.
Yeah, we were. Yeah.
I feel like, yeah. I remember Steve Kelly writing, "Too Deep's the best band in Rockford. They just played 3.5 hours straight without a set break." I felt like, man, I have to go. Number one, we need to get our stamina up, and number two, why do we take a set break? So thanks for that. Now you set the bar way higher than now. I gotta, train.
Oh, man, that sure is too deep. Miles, man, it has been a pleasure, man.
Man, we appreciate
Absolutely,
it,
man. Thank you guys so much.
Man, thank
Absolutely.
you,
And,
man. Thank you.
Best of luck to you and the band and getting through this whole, you know, COVID situation. I'm looking forward to checking you guys out live. I haven't had that opportunity. I watched some of the videos on YouTube, but I'm looking forward to checking you out live, man.
Yeah. It's not the same, man. Come out, sit in with us anytime. We're always welcome to having people on stage with us too, you know.
For sure.
Cool, man.
For sure.
Hey, man, I've been waiting to get, you know, do a collaboration with you, man. Too Deep, man.
Yeah. Hey, we've talked about it.
Yeah, man.
I mean,
it'd be fun.
No time
man.
like the present, you know. I mean, we've got a few months of cold weather that I'm sure we could put something cool together.
Yeah, that's right, man. Cool, man. Cool.
Well, you know how to find me, you guys.
Yep.
You got it,
sir.
man. Thank you, man.
All right, you guys.
Thank you, bro.
Thank
Absolutely.
you, man.
We'll
Appreciate it,
soon.
man.
All right.
See you guys.
All right,
Yep.
later. Thank everybody for tuning in and listening. Make sure you check us out on YouTube as well as Facebook.
And
Talk
please,
to you soon.
please go out and vote.
There it
Please
is.
go
There
out and
it
vote.
is.
I'm not telling you to vote for, but vote, y'all.
Absolutely.
November
Cedric,
3rd.
Cedric, man, love you, bro.
Love you, man.
I'll talk to you soon, man.
Good night, everybody.
I'm out of here. Later.
Later.